We cannot fix your body or your brain until we fix your sleep. Inadequate sleep can lead to increased risk of Alzheimer's, heart disease, diabetes, stroke, obesity, hormone disruption, poor cognitive function, weight gain, increased anxiety and depression, and it increases your risk of cancer. Sleep, we all love sleep. We know we need sleep and we want to sleep, but yet 35% of us are chronically sleep deprived. In this episode of The Chalene Show, I'm going to share with you proven, scientifically backed methods to help you improve your sleep. So I'm going to go through some simple tips. Some of these you've heard before, many of which I bet you have not. And whether you implement all of these tips or just some, I can promise you're going to get better sleep. Hey, thanks for being here. By the way, I'm currently in New York City, hence the black leather. I just feel like black leather is such a New York thing. It's so weird the way I pack differently when I come to New York. Anyways, let's talk about sleep. And I want to start by saying, not everyone wants to sleep more. I didn't want to sleep more. I believed for many years that I didn't need much sleep. There was something different about me. I'd never felt truly tired. I felt tired and wired, but as long as I was moving, as long as I was going 100 miles per hour, I just believed that I would sleep later. When my children were young and I was building a business, there just weren't enough hours in the day. I wanted to be a present mom. I wanted to do things with them, and I was trying to grow a business. So the one thing that I sacrificed the most was my sleep. I often would wake up at the crack of dawn, at 4:30 a.m. to work out at 5:30 a.m. Then I would come home and in time for the kids to wake up, be a mom all day, work on my business intermittently. And then once they went to bed, I would spend hours and hours working on my business. And then I would try to fall asleep, and I couldn't fall asleep because then I was stressing and thinking about my business. For many, many years, I probably got 4 hours of sleep, on a good night. And then when I went to have my brain scanned, because I was really experiencing a very heightened level of disorganization, distractibility, I couldn't focus. I couldn't think. I thought that maybe I had a brain tumor. I really thought there was something going on with my brain, something is not right. When I was 45 years old, I went in and had a brain scan. I knew I needed to see a neurologist because I'm there's something going on. I had a brain scan at the Amen Clinic, and here is an image. I've shown this before. What you're looking at is a scan of my brain when I went in. Then you can see that there's these really big marked areas that look like white space or almost like holes in my brain. And then on other scans, you could just see areas where the prefrontal cortex was just not getting any blood flow whatsoever. It was after that scan that I was diagnosed with inattentive ADHD. But in addition to that, when the doctors looked at my scan, they asked if I had chronic drug use, to which I said no. They also asked if I had recently gone through chemotherapy, and I said no. And why are you asking me these questions? And they said, based on the toxicity, heavy toxicity in your brain, something's going on. So it's either one of those two things, or you may have a sleep disorder. So they sent me to do a sleep study. And I remember, here's a picture of me doing the sleep study. I'm wait, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to get good sleep with all these electrodes hooked all over my head, sleeping in a bed, being monitored by a stranger. This is so weird. But anyways, I did the sleep study, and I thought it was kind of funny that they're sending me to the sleep study because honestly, I already knew. They were you maybe have some kind of sleep disorder. I already knew. The disorder was I didn't have time to sleep. It wasn't that I didn't really want to sleep. I just don't have time. I'm not prioritizing it. So, but I never said that to them. I didn't really speak up. I went and got my sleep study, and they're yeah, no, it's weird. No sleep. You fell asleep within seconds. It was crazy. I thought it took me hours to fall asleep, but the study showed that I fell asleep super fast. That's considered your latency, how long it takes for you to fall asleep. And I will tell you, I wear an Oura ring. I'm not wearing it right now, but I wear an Oura ring to track my sleep, and I find it so fascinating. The nights that I feel like it takes me an hour to fall asleep, and I look on my score, and it actually only took 7 minutes. Anyways, I get the sleep study back, and that's when I basically confessed to the doctor, yeah, I didn't assume that I had any kind of sleep disorder. I just don't let myself sleep. I don't have time for it. And I had a very serious and sincere and scary heart-to-heart with Dr. Amen, wherein he basically said, you're putting yourself at risk. You're putting yourself on the fast track to Alzheimer's, to cardiovascular disease, to increased all-cause mortality. You are a health professional, and you are so unhealthy because you're not taking care of the foundation of health. Ladies and gentlemen, the foundation of health. If you listen to the Chalene Show, if you watch because you're trying to live a healthier, more vibrant life, before exercise, before food, before any of that, you've got to start with sleep. Sleep is a foundation. We need sleep more than we need food and water. We need sleep in order for our bodies to repair the work that we're doing in the gym. We need sleep in order for our bodies to metabolize the healthy food that you're trying to eat. In fact, did you know that sleep deprivation in the United States is estimated to cost the U.S. economy $63 billion in mistakes, errors, injuries, and lack of productivity? Those of you who average less than 6 hours of sleep per night have a 48% increase of heart disease. And maybe you're thinking to yourself, well, do I really need to worry about heart disease? Like, I take care of myself, I exercise, I eat right, it doesn't run in my family. Well, if that doesn't worry you, maybe you should consider what's happening in your brain. The reason why my brain was filled with toxins that were putting me on the path to seriously fast cognitive decline, amongst other diseases, is because your brain clears out all of the toxins while you sleep. When we're sleep deprived, it increases our cortisol levels. When our cortisol levels are increased, so too are our ghrelin and leptin hormones. So essentially, all of the hormones that our body needs to regulate in order to help us maintain a healthy weight and to lose weight are dysregulated when we are sleep deprived. When we're sleep deprived, we crave foods that are higher in carbohydrates. We're hungrier. We can't be satisfied. I'm sure you've had this happen before, like on a night where you had to pull an all-nighter. Maybe the kids were up sick, or for whatever reason, you didn't get proper sleep. You know, for all of us, the next day, it's like you can't get enough food. And it's not healthy food we usually crave. Our bodies naturally crave foods that are high in carbohydrates, foods that are highly palatable, usually highly processed, because we're trying to soothe and quiet that cortisol. That's a natural reaction when we are sleep deprived. Studies show that the less sleep we're getting, the more calories we consume. And do I really need to tell you how much older you look when you're sleep deprived? I mean, I know this is true for me. You just, on one of those nights where you, for whatever reason, an off night, you get 4 hours or 5 hours of sleep, you look in the mirror and you're like, I look so freaking old. You just do. And we're all going to go through periods in our lives, like something traumatic happens and you can't sleep. Like maybe you have a loved one who's very ill or you're just going through something very traumatic and you just are not sleeping. You look 10 years older. I mean, I don't know if the disease motivates everyone, like the risk of disease. I mean, some of us have this like belief that we're going to live forever and, oh, that won't happen to me. But if nothing else, I hope that you're motivated to make some changes with your sleep because you want to feel better and you want to look better. I mean, even if it's just for vanity reasons. I know that's usually like in the moment, the reason why I want to get more sleep. I'm not worried like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night, I might get heart disease. I'm like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night, I look like I mean, all the Botox in the world can't reverse years of sleep deprivation, but you can begin today to change that. You can start getting better sleep immediately and start reversing that. So as a way to kind of motivate you, here's my brain after 2 solid years of changing my sleep habits, also doing a little bit of hyperbaric oxygen chamber. Obviously, I don't know which thing in particular gave me the biggest difference in my brain health, right? Like in the difference these two scans look, because I also stopped over exercising and I started eating a much better whole foods diet. But I have to tell you, like just cognitively, in terms of like my ADHD symptoms, so much better. I feel so much sharper. I literally thought like I had Alzheimer's when I was 45 years old. And in great part because I was so chronically sleep deprived. You know, my body I was always sore, always getting injured. And it's no wonder. Of course I was always getting injured. I was never allowing my body to do what it needed to in sleep in order to repair its tissues. And that goes for our skin, as well as our muscles and our connective tissues. Your body needs sleep. Chalene, I get it. I want sleep. I just can't sleep. Well, you're in luck. I too believed at one point that I could not sleep. And I'm here to tell you by changing the following things. I'm going to go through some simple tips. Some of these you've heard before, many of which I bet you have not. And whether you implement all of these tips or just some, I can promise you, you're going to get better sleep. So let's get to it, shall we? And by the way, if you have a partner who's like going to fight you on any of these, have them watch and listen to this episode of the Chalene Show so that they're on board, so that they understand what's at risk here if we don't do these things. First of all, we've got to turn the room temperature down in your bedroom to around 65 degrees or lower. Yes, the body goes into sleep mode much easier when it's colder. I have so many to go through that I don't have time to convince you of these things, but I need to tell you, look up the research. It'll blow your mind. The colder your room, the better you'll sleep. Number 2, darkness, darkness, darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I forget the words. Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah, I'm not going to sing for you. Okay, you need complete darkness. Many people do not realize they have thin eyelids. There's that, and then some of us sleep with our eyes slightly open. If you have chronic dry eye, you might be one of those people that sleeps with their eyes just like I sleep with my, I know it sounds crazy, but I sleep with my eyes just like slightly open. You can just barely see my eyeballs, but my eyes are slightly open. And so any amount of light in the room, whether we realize it or not, affects our circadian rhythm. Even if your eyes are fully closed, some of us have thinner eyelids than others. Light is coming into your eyes. Even a minimal amount of light, even light from another room, even if you have blinds, but they're not fully blackout blinds, light is entering into the room and it impacts your circadian rhythms. That means you've got to do everything you can to make the room pitch freaking black. Now, I am a big believer in blackout curtains. Ever since I got this diagnosis, I will spend whatever money we need to in our own home to make sure we have like the best blackout curtains. I don't mean just curtains that keep the room dark. I mean blackouts. And when we're traveling, I travel with, and I'm going to put a link below in our show notes. I travel with these. If I'm not sure, like in a hotel like this, I know that they have blackout curtains. But if I'm not sure, like when we're traveling in Europe or when we're staying in an Airbnb, I can't risk not getting good night's sleep. So these are super inexpensive. It's just this plastic black film. You can put it up on the windows with Velcro. It's easy to remove. There's no damage. They're just little 3M stickers, and it provides complete and utter blackness. You need no light whatsoever. And that includes the little teeny tiny light on your TV and on your electronics and anything else that's in the room. All those little lights, they seep into your eyeballs. They create a disruption in the circadian rhythm. So I'm also going to link to this little pack of stickers that I bring with me when we travel, and I have them to place over any light. Could be the phone next to the bed or like anything that's got a little light on it. Put these little stickers over them. They're easy to remove, and it will guarantee you have pitch blackness for you to sleep soundly. Number 3 is mouth taping. Now, if you're not ready for mouth taping, I understand, but you need to start focus on breathing just through your nose. The number of people who struggle with sleep apnea, who don't realize that they're waking up in the middle of the night because they're breathing through their mouth, which is causing their throat to dry out, which is causing tooth decay, which is causing bacteria in the mouth, which is causing all of these other sleep disruptions because you're breathing through your mouth, and we weren't designed to breathe through our mouth. I've done a whole episode, a series of episodes about mouth taping and how it's changed my jawline and how it's improved my sleep. Now, I didn't do it initially to improve my jawline, but as an extra added bonus, it will improve your jawline. You can use mouth tape, and there's lots of different brands out there. I recommend, if you're confused or nervous about mouth taping, to watch this episode or listen to this episode, which I will link below in our show description, on how to basically start mouth taping. Mouth taping, what it does is it forces you to breathe through your nose. Breathing through your nose slows your breathing pattern. It gives you a deeper, more profound sleep quality, and so many other health benefits. Trust me, breathing through your nose is going to improve your sleep. Number 4 is white noise. White noise is so powerful, especially for those of you, maybe you sleep someplace where it's noisy. For those of us who have ADHD, like if I can hear anything, if I can just hear if I can hear quietness, it keeps me awake. So I need white noise. For some of you, that's like putting a fan in the room or using an app that plays white noise. Personally, I love brown noise. So if we're traveling and I don't feel like bringing my little favorite sound machine, I will play. There's a couple different apps that I use that have white noise. You can download I have one on my, where'd it go? Oh, I don't have my phone with me. I'm filming on it. Duh. You know what? I will link to the playlist I use on Spotify. It's just 10 hours of brown noise on Spotify, and Spotify's free, so you could use that. I also went and stayed in Las Vegas at the Four Seasons, and every room had this like little device next to the bedside stand called a snooze. And I'm like, what's this? And it's got a fan inside of it, but it's tiny, and there's something about the sound of this fan, it's called a snooze, that is so yummy. I love it. In fact, we took it with us when we traveled through Europe because, good sleep is important. Number 5 is having a sleep journal next to your bed. Obviously, here's my push journal. Just having a piece of paper next to your bed, and here's why. Many of us struggle to fall asleep because our brains keep going over the things that we don't want to forget we have to do tomorrow, and the things we don't want to forget to have to handle, and the things our brains just keep ruminating and circling and thinking about. So if you take a pen, this works. Y'all, this works. Take it out of your brain and just put it on paper. You just write a few words down so you're like, okay, and tell yourself, it's out of my brain and I don't have to worry about it. And when you do that, it does allow your brain to just relax and focus. I've also heard the tip of using the opposite, like the opposite technique, almost like reverse psychology. Sometimes when you can't fall asleep, that's all you can think about. It's like, I can't fall asleep. How many hours of sleep am I going to get? Oh no. And you start doing the math and you're like, I'm still not asleep. I'm never going to fall asleep. Do the opposite of that. Tell yourself that I can't let myself fall asleep. Don't fall asleep. Like, tell yourself that. And using that reverse psychology, it is said for many people is very effective. I personally have never done that. For me, what I do that helps me fall asleep very quickly, this is just my own little special tip, is I start thinking about everybody in my immediate family and I start praying for them individually. And I go through everyone in my immediate family and then I start going out broader, like then my extended family and then my friends. I never even get to I apologize to my friends. Tonight I'll start with you guys, but I never get to my friends. I always fall asleep mid-prayer. I'm like halfway through my immediate family and I fall asleep. It works every time. Thank you, Jesus. My next tip, and this one is really important, sleep supplements, which is very different from taking an over-the-counter or even a prescribed sleep medication. Most sleep medications, number 1, are going to make you dependent upon them. They do not give you adequate deep and or REM sleep. So I highly discourage you from using any type of prescription sleep drug unless you absolutely have to. Rather, I would encourage you to try using a supplement. Now, most of these supplements are hormone related. So we need an adequate amount of melatonin in order to get an adequate amount of sleep, as well as magnesium. So it might be magnesium that you're short in. It might be melatonin. Some people freak out because they have really strange dreams when they take melatonin. I'm like, dreams are a good thing. Dreams are how we process emotion. If you're having very vivid dreams, it ain't going to kill ya. In fact, it's a really, really good sign. Like I cannot for the life of me understand why people are like, I don't want to do melatonin. It gives me weird dreams. I'm like, so what? Their dreams are not real. And it's a really good sign that you're getting the kind of sleep, REM sleep, where you're dreaming. That's what you need, okay? But other people they just don't like melatonin. That's fine. Then don't do it. You might also consider, however, magnesium. Magnesium is also a hormone that we produce in our bodies. And if you are insufficient in magnesium, you're not going to get proper sleep. I say this all the time. Magnesium has a profound impact on almost every hormone function in our body. I think it's something like 76% of us are chronically deficient in magnesium. So consider an adequate or a really good magnesium supplement. Obviously, you guys know I love Bioptimizer. I found them for that exact reason. Like I was trying to figure out a healthy magnesium. By the way, and this is not an ad for them, but they just came out with a powder form. And I think that's beautiful because I think a lot of people have digestive sensitivity when it comes to magnesium. So they have to take less and figure out the right amount. And so with a capsule, it's not like you can bite it in half. You know what I mean? But with this powder, now you could just have a little bit of powder and figure out the right amount. Anyways, magnesium is a wonderful supplement for people to add. And because they affect your hormones, you're not going to feel a difference usually on night one. You got to give them time to work in your body, especially melatonin. Magnesium, you might feel a difference the first night. In addition to that, CBD and CBN, cannabinol, and neither of these are hallucinogenic, so we're not talking about THC. Some people like THC as a sleep supplement. I'm not a fan. I would tell you, if you are going to take THC, it's kind of along the lines of drinking alcohol to fall asleep. It's masking something else that's disrupting your sleep. So personally, I'm not a fan. That's just me. If that works for you, look at your sleep score. If you're wearing an Oura Ring or some other device to track your sleep, look and see if you're still getting quality deep sleep and REM sleep. But CBD and CBN, both which are derived from the hemp plant, are amazing for sleep. If you look at the research for CBN, cannabinol, it makes us very drowsy. It will really help you to fall asleep faster. Obviously, I regularly take CBD and CBN as well as chamomile, and I take that in a gummy form from My Soul CBD. Again, this is not an ad, but I'm doing an episode about sleep, so I definitely need to mention them. And I have discount codes for both the magnesium and the CBD, and I will put them both below in my show notes, obviously because they sponsor the show financially. So that's very helpful when you order from them. But I just want you to know, these are all very safe supplements for you to experiment with and see if they improve your sleep that do not create dependency. I mean, they might create an emotional dependency because you're like, I need it to sleep, but it won't create a physical dependency. And I think that's really important. My next tip is to have a power down hour. And I know if you've got kids and you're super busy, and maybe you work a shift where you don't have that luxury of having a power down hour, but most of us do have the ability to stop intaking social media. Watch and see how much better you sleep if the hour before you go to bed, you're not taking in information, like you're not watching TV or Netflix, not watching social media. If you can just begin your bedtime routines, so typically what I'll do is I fill my water bottles, I fill up the coffee machine for the next day, I get everything ready for the next day. I pull out my workout clothes, I brush my teeth, I go through my face care routine. And I know you do that too, but are you doing that and also looking at your phone? I just recommend, and I'm not perfect, but I recommend trying it and see if you're struggling with sleep, see if you don't fall asleep faster if you power down an hour before bed. Next is to create a sleep sanctuary. I am all for the sleep sanctuary. So what do I mean by this? I mean creating a place, a space where this is all you do is sleep in your bedroom. And I get it. You might be in a situation where you're like, I don't really have a choice. My workstation is in my bedroom. I've got a sewing machine over here. My son does his homework in this corner. But whatever you can do to create a special sacred place in your bedroom that is just for sleep. And that means clearing clutter. If you've got a workstation in your bedroom, I guarantee that is seeping into your subconscious. And it's one of the reasons why you're not getting great sleep. It's also really important, like I said, the temperature of the room, the darkness of the room, maybe the aroma in the room, using some lavender eucalyptus spray on the pillow. And then, permission to get new sheets. There's nothing that's going to keep you awake like scratchy, dry, old sheets. Listen, permission to go to Amazon or wherever you want to buy great sheets. I am such a, when it comes to being high maintenance, it's sheets for me. I need amazing sheets and I need the right temperature. I need the blankets, all of it. Your mattress. And again, these things are expensive, especially a mattress. I have a Sleep Number bed, which I love, but I've recommended it for years. Not everybody loves a Sleep Number bed, but if you are struggling to get sleep and you're thinking okay, I really need should I get a new purse or should I get a new mattress? Get a new mattress. Get a new mattress. Get new sheets. Get pillows. My favorite pillow is the My Pillow. I did a whole episode about sleep positions and how your sleep position also impacts your youthfulness and your health. And I will link to that below in our show description, as well as If you're watching on YouTube, you can watch it here. And it's really fascinating to figure out, like, depending on your sleep position, there's ways to improve it. Like if you're like, I just can't fall asleep unless I'm on my side. Well, there are ways that you can improve that. There are ways you can improve almost every way that you sleep. But spoiler alert, there is definitely a superior sleep position, and you'll learn all about it in that episode. My next tip is to begin tracking your sleep. Now, you can do this by just, like in the push journal. There's a place in the push journal where you can just list on the health tracker how many hours of sleep you got each night. That's kind of a rudimentary way of tracking your sleep. And then, of course, for those of you who are, wear an Apple Watch, that can help track your sleep. A Fitbit. I personally love the Oura Ring, and they're not a show sponsor, but I will tell you, there isn't a better piece of technology on the market, hands down. And again, they're not a show sponsor, so this is like not an ad. It's expensive, but it's insane how people immediately improve their sleep when they get the tracker. You're like, well, why? Well, because that which we can track is that which we will improve. If you can't track something, there's no way to improve it, and there's no incentive to. There's this gamification about something about this ring. Like when you wake up every day and you see your sleep score, you get a grade. And you can see specifically whether you got deep sleep or REM sleep, and it just is so freaking, like I've never been so obsessed with getting a better number, and I can't think of something to be more important to be obsessed about than getting good sleep, right? Like that's about the healthiest pursuit that you can have. So, maybe you could ask for one of those for Christmas. Again, there's lots of different wearable devices now that track your sleep. So find the one that's most affordable and works for you, but my personal favorite is the Oura Ring. The next most important tip is exercise. People who exercise sleep better. And I know there's a lot of debate about what time of the day you should exercise in order to have the best outcome in terms of your sleep. And I just think that's about personal preference. So if some people find that they can exercise late at night and that makes them more drowsy and they fall asleep faster, just pay attention to how it impacts your sleep. One of the things I didn't put on here, I didn't want to go over the common sense stuff like coffee, not to have caffeine after noon, right? Like, that, right? All right. Well, my last and final tip, and this is one I think very few people recognize how essential it is: morning sunlight. Morning sunlight. So like around 10 a.m. That's when I would love to have you do a zone 2 walk. That's when I'm doing my zone 2 cardio. Morning sunlight helps to regulate our circadian rhythms. Our circadian rhythms are all off because of devices and the society and, the day that we live in. It's just not the same. It used to be we woke up when the sun went up and we went to bed when the sun went down. Today, we stay up much later than after the sun goes down, and it does throw off our circadian rhythm. So doing a morning exercise routine where you're getting a little bit of sunlight before 10 a.m. will dramatically improve your ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. I would love to know from you, of all of these tips that I gave you, and I've given you more than 12, I think, today, of all of them, how many, and will you list them for me, are the ones you're like, I had never done that, and I'm going to try it. I'd love to hear from you. Share with me your feedback. If you're watching on YouTube, I love reading your comments. Don't forget to check back because I always reply to your comments. It means a lot that you guys are here and part of this community. And most importantly, I have to tell you that all these things are habits. Habits are only as good as our determination to practice them on a regular basis. So turn these into a lifestyle, a way of life for you, where you automatically turn the temperature down. You automatically turn on the sound machine. You're automatically going for that zone 2 cardio first thing in the morning to get your morning sunlight. I hope that this episode was helpful. I hope that you're going to put some of these practices and turn them into habits for you, because I want you to get better sleep, because I want you to live a long and healthy, I want you to look amazing. I want you to feel amazing. I want you to be amazing. And all of that requires us starting with our sleep. Hey, thanks for being here. And thanks for double checking and making sure that you've turned on the bell notification. I know you're already subscribed because hello, you're so good looking and so smart. Duh, of course you're subscribed. But you might have missed the fact that you also need to turn on the bell notification, because if you turn on the bell notification, you automatically get a free new car from Oprah. She just needs your address. You just turn on that bell notification and it's going to happen. I know it. The power of intention, the power of attraction. Okay? So give that a whirl. But hey, I love you. I mean it. And I'll talk to you soon.